phone controls my hearing aids. Hearing aids connect to our T-coil, so it's very easy for me to hear everything.
Text you.
Wait for him to ring the arm here.
Please text him.
Welcome, good morning. My name is Tom LaJudas, and I use he, him pronouns. I serve the congregation on Connection Circles and also on the Leadership Development Team. I'm leading this morning's service as a worship associate. Welcome to our special place. As Unitarian Universalist congregation of the Quad Cities, we welcome all people into our beloved community of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, physical ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We welcome especially those joining us for the first time. We invite everyone to join us downstairs after the service for coffee, snacks, and conversation. Thank you for joining us this morning. And next is our prelude. Thank you very much in advance.
That'll get your toes tapping this morning. Good morning. Morning. No. Good morning. My name is John DeGreve. I'm chairman of the religious services team and also the church treasurer. So it's all about money today. No. This is the first Sunday of the new year, the coldest Sunday of the year so far. We wish everyone here and online a happy new year. As the tradition, I would like to acknowledge birthdays for January. So is there anybody out there that has a January birthday? What date? Yell it out. The 8th? 24th. 11. 22. Going. How about, there's one back there. 5. Okay, thank you. That's today. Wow, I hope she brought a cake downstairs. All right, how about February? February birthday. 3rd? First, okay. Any other February birthdays? 12th. Let's sing him happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everyone. Happy birthday to you. The vamps get better every time. Thank you, Bates. Today, I'm going to be talking about the stories that connect. The stories that connect us to our humanity. In the past few weeks, Gail Springer, Diane Harrington, and Mike Wilcox have shared personal stories that have affected their lives. Stories link us to our past and provide us with a glimpse into our future. Like the opening song, our stories provide us with insights to the question of where do we come from, who are we, and where are we going? I will be sharing stories of creation, human stories, and personal stories, stories that affect and form each of our lives, helping us to connect, to remember, to pass on, to teach, and to celebrate. I invite you to come along on our storytelling journey. On the first Sunday of each month, we read together the covenant pledge, which is on your screen, so please read with me. Loving kindness guides us as we come together in the spirit of generosity, respect, and empathy, mindfully aware of each other's inherent dignity and worth. I would like to share a reading from my favorite author, Anonymous. It's entitled, We Come Together. At the beginning of this new year, we have come together from different places. We're all at different stages in our journey through life, and our paths are varied, and we look at life in different ways. But there is one thing that we all have in common. At one point or another, to some degree or other, our lives have been touched by this community. And today we set aside our usual daily activities for a while and are gathered here to talk and to listen, to see and be seen, and be energized by being together in community. And also because, in one way or another, we will need each other in this coming year. Please join with us in lighting our chalice. The words, there's a chalice, next slide. The words are on the screen. Is it entitled The End of the Beginning by Katie Giffland. We call forth the life of our faith by igniting our chalice. This sparks of new beginning invites us to a sacred space to reflect where we have been and where we are going, even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end with our ritual extinguishing. We fear not the end, for we know with brave hearts from the ever ending we are sent forth to make. Okay, our opening song today is number 103 in the Teal book. I would like to do it 4 times. One time, verse 1, the very first. The second time, well, is a different. It's in your hymnal. There's what?
I'll play the whole thing through. And that way
Okay, but they have to know what the different parts are. Okay. All right. Let us try. Please rise in body and our spirit. I think you can do it. This is the second one. Third one. Mystery, mystery. Life is a little mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a battle and a mystery. Life is a battle and a mystery. It was a mystery when the song was going to end. Sorry. Please be seated.
We are, in my Southern tradition, gathering a few minutes after our gathering time. It's nice to see so many people coming out on a cold day. In the spirit of love and fellowship, we now greet the holy in our midst by briefly greeting those around us, especially those we do not know.
Mingle.
Good to see you.
I'm glad you're here. learned that not without a knee replacement. Yes, I'm here. You don't have to.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? Why not, Ezra?
My sister keeps ripping my mustache off.
Oh, okay. So today we're going to play a little game and we're going to move our bodies. So I need use of my legs, children. Okay, these are my appendages. So if everybody, actually, you know what? We're going to stay sitting because I think it might get a little chaotic if we're moving around. But we are going to find some commonalities with our fellow humans at church today. So I'm going to start with raise your hand if you have a pet at home. All right. Raise your hand if that pet is a cat. So we can look around. Raise your hand if you have a dog.
I have two.
Oh. Raise your hand if you have something else. Raise your hand if you have both a cat and a dog. Or raise both hands if you have both. All right, let's see. Raise your hand if you like hip-hop music. Raise your hand if you like country music. Raise your hand if you like 90s boy bands. Yes. Raise your hand if you like horror movies. Raise your hand if you like romantic comedies.
What is that?
Raise your hand if you like stand-up comedy. Raise your hand if you like Broadway musicals. Ooh, quite a few of you. Wait, Gates, do you like Broadway musicals? Our musical director does not like musicals. Now let's get into some UU questions. Raise your hand if you grew up in a different religion. So if you found Unitarian Universalism as an adult. Raise your hand if you grew up Catholic. Raise your hand if you grew up in one of the other general Christian religions. Did anyone grow up Jewish? We've got one. I found there aren't a lot of Jewish people in the Quad Cities. In New York, there's a ton. Ooh, raise your hand if you are from somewhere else other than the Quad Cities. All right. Raise your hand if you're from the East Coast. Raise your hand if you're from another place in the Midwest. Raise your hand if you're from the West Coast. Taryn. Raise your hand if you like to travel. Raise your hand if you've been to at least 25 of the U.S. states. Raise your hand if you've been to all 50 states. Do we have anyone?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you've been to Europe.
I know I haven't.
Raise your hand if you've been to South America. Yes. Raise your hand if you've been to Alaska. You guys have been to Alaska?
Yeah, we were born in Alaska.
Cool.
Can you ask if we went to the North Pole?
Oh, has anyone, Zoe wants to know if anyone's been to the North Pole. Nope. Oh, and I think that's our cue that we've done too many questions. So we're going to go downstairs. All right, let's go, friends.
Is 544 in the gray hymnal. It should be up on, there it is for us. Good. The 1st of January is another day dawning, the sun rising as the sun always rises, the earth moving in its rhythms. Our calendars name a certain day. This day of new beginning, separating the old from the new. So it is, everything is the same, bound into its history as we ourselves are bound. Yet also we stand with the passion, the new year, truly new, still unformed, leaving a stunning power in our hands. What shall we do with this great gift of time this year? Let's begin by remembering that whatever justice, whatever peace and wholeness may bloom into our world this year. We are the hearts and minds, the hands and feet, the embodiment of all of the best visions of our people. The new year and the new ground. For the seeds of our dreams. Let us take the step forward together into this new ground. Planting our trees well, faithfully and in joy.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Susan Perry, a member of the Pastoral Care Associates Ministry team. As we gather today, we pause to reflect on what lies within our hearts. In this time of sharing, we take a moment to recognize our personal joys and concerns and to read from the book of joys and concerns those personal life events you have chosen to share with us. Are there any concerns online?
No.
Any joys? Okay. There are not any joys or concerns in our book or online, and although no one has shared any joys and concerns, we know that each of us has both happy and concerning events that we hold within us. Let us become aware of the energy that brings us together in beloved community as we share a time of silent meditation. May we open our minds and hearts to a place of quiet, to a silent prayer for the healing of pain and the comfort of love. You are invited to come forward and light a candle during the musical meditation that follows.
Privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all the financial support for all the many ministries from among ourselves, Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. As treasurer, I acknowledge that. We want your generosity, please. This month's undesignated plate offering will be for the Quad Cities Interfaith, a faith-based social justice action-oriented organization that we have been affiliated with for many years. We invite you now to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation. Please be as generous as you can. Thank you. For all the gifts of time and treasure that you have given this congregation, with sincere gratitude, we thank you. This morning I have another John Bowman tie on. When John and Kathy moved to Minneapolis, he bequeathed to me about 60 ties. So Joe Machinko calls it my vestments. I don't know. I'm going to up you today, though, Joe. Wouldn't it be great to have a rainbow-colored coat to tell the stories like in Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat? I mentioned that to my wife, and she sprang into action several years ago and found this brightly colored fabric of puzzles. And I says, how great? And she says, well, it's your dream coat. So besides the tie, for all the Catholics in the room, this is my vestments today. Anyway, I thought it was great because of the many shapes and colors that we come together, many stories fitting together in one community as one great family. So let's begin our journey with the stories of creation. All human societies, including our own, tell stories of how the world began. Such stories are varied in detail, but they tend to include some of the basic themes. Many accounts begin with the earth or with the earth retrieved from water. In some of them, gods and people and animals emerge from the earth. In others, the process begins when a crab or a tortoise dives into the primeval ocean and brings up a small piece of earth from which the universe is created. Allow me to share some of these various creation stories from around the world. the cosmic egg from China. The first living being was Pan Ku, who grew for 18,000 years inside a cosmic egg. When he hatched, the shell above him became the sky, while the pieces below him became the earth. The opposites of nature were separated as well, male and female, wet and dry, light and dark, yin and yang. After all this effort, Pan Ku literally fell to pieces, and his features became the natural world. His limbs turned into the mountains, his blood to the rivers, his breath to the wind, his voice to thunder, his hair the grass, his sweat the rain, and so on. His left eye became the sun, and his right eye became the moon. Some people say that the parasites on Pan Ku's body became mankind. I guess we weren't very high on the list of Pan Ku's creativity. The story from the Blackfoot Indians. Old Man came from the south, making terrain, plants, and animals as he headed north. The first people created were a woman and a son from clay. Old Man showed them how to collect plants for food and told them which herbs were good for treating sickness. He taught them how to make weapons to kill animals and to fire so they could cook them. Most importantly, he told them how to get spirit power by finding their spirit animals in their dreams. After the great flood, Old Man gathered the people on top of the mountain and gave them water of different colors to drink. Each color represented a different language. The story from the Aborigines about the rainbow serpent. Aboriginal creation stories begin with the dreaming. When the world was bare and cold, the rainbow serpent slept underground with all the animal tribes in her belly. When the time was right, she emerged and spewed forth the animals along with the features of the natural world. The rainbow serpent was the maker of laws, which all creation must obey. In some variations of the myth, the rainbow serpent swallowed the wrongdoers and spat their bones out in the forms of rocks and hills. In others, she rewarded those who obeyed the laws by giving them human form and turned the lawbreakers into stone. The rainbow serpent was sometimes called the Old Woman, and it was she who taught humans how to get food. The rainbow serpent was said to have given each human a totem and ruled that no man should eat the animal that the totem represented. That way she ensured that there would be enough food for all. The Big Bang Theory. 14 billion years ago, the universe began. All the particles of the universe were packed into one really tight, dense ball called a singularity. That ball contained the entire universe. Nobody is quite sure what happened, but that tight ball exploded and sent pieces of the universe out in space and time. This explosion is what we call the Big Bang. The explosion was very, very hot. All of the matter from the big explosion expanded, and it is still expanding today. Genesis. The creation story of the Old Testament of the Hebrew text was much simpler and confident, deriving from monotheism. It opens with, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." The resulting story is very practical. From the void and darkness, on day one, separated light and darkness. Day two created dry land. Day three created vegetation. Day four created moon and stars. Day five created creatures and water and fish. Day six created land animals of all kind and man in God's image to supervise the creatures. With all of the creation done, God rested on the seventh day. What is surprising is not how our creation stories differ, but how much they have in common. Even when they originate in vastly different places and time, Something existed before time and space. Creation happened in stages, darkness and lightness, wet and dry land. Who are we, and where did we come from? I'd like to share my family's creation story. Alphonse DeGreve, my grandfather, came to the United States from Belgium through Ellis Island by himself at the age of 16 with $87 to his name. He was one of 18 children. He came with little education. This much we tell of our story, but we don't know how he ended up in Moline. Other than Moline had the largest population of Belgians in the United States, second only to Detroit. Who he lived with and what he did to survive early years have been lost because that part of the story was not repeated often. Fast forward several years, he married my grandmother, Madeline DePau. They had 2 children, Henry, Hank, my father, and Helen, my aunt. He owned a butcher shop. How he got to be a butcher, we don't know. And the butcher shop expanded into a grocery store. In my story, my grandfather was a success. I don't know of his trials or failures. He was smart and a risk taker and determined. I don't know how hard it was for him to learn English, but I do know that he didn't want any of his grandchildren to learn Flemish. English, he insisted on. My grandparents lived in a house next to my house my entire childhood. I thought everyone's grandparents did. I didn't know how lucky I was until later on. My grandmother, Augusta Musli, my mother's mom, her family creation is also adventurous. Her family lived in Canada in a town named Musleyville, named after her last name. She traveled by train from Canada to the Quad Cities to marry my grandfather, Rennie Vandervennet, as an arranged marriage. Upon arrival, the story says that she commented, "He sure is short." Love blooms, right? They married, lived in Moline, raised a family of 4, including my mother, Jeanette, and my grandfather ran a hardware store. They showed me the meaning of commitment. Unfortunately, I never knew them well because they had both died by the time I was 5. But their stories were shared by my mother to keep their memories alive. My personal creation story. Because Alphonse and Augusta took a risk and came to Moline, and because their children, Hank and Jeanette, shared their lives and their stories, I was born in Moline, Illinois, 78 years ago. Without their stories, I would not have been able to tell mine. I have a sister, Donna, and 2 brothers, Joe and Jim. My world as I knew it revolved around a 3-mile radius of Old Town in Moline, 7th Street and 18th Avenue, the Belgian Village area. I went to grade school and attended church at Sacred Heart in Moline. DeGreve's IGA, my grandfather's and dad's grocery store, was located there. I grew up working in the grocery store and I had fond memories of working with both of them. My mother and dad added a Highlander Center laundromat next to the grocery store, and the story there is that my mother, on her part, taught half the city of Moline how to fold fitted sheets. My part of the story is that I was trained to be a Maytag repairman. A lonely job. My wife Jan and I will be celebrating our 58th wedding anniversary next July. Our story would not have happened if my parents, Hank and Jeanette, and her parents, Ernie and Francis, had not shared their stories with their lives in Moline. I have known Jan since kindergarten. We lived 3 blocks apart from each other, but we only spent 1 grade together in school, and that was kindergarten. We have always joked about the fact that we slept together then and we liked it. It was really a nap, but we liked it anyway. Our paths went separate ways until senior year of high school. Jan went to Moline High School and I went to Alleman. I needed someone to type a term paper, and a mutual friend suggested I ask Janice. I did, and she typed my paper, and our friendship began again. We married in 1967. We were the last couple married in Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Moline. That says something. We closed the place. But that's a whole nother story. I was drafted 9 months later, the only lottery I ever won. We celebrated our first anniversary with me in Army boot camp, and our second anniversary with me in Vietnam. The irony of this is that the Army taught me how to type. And today, if Jan needs a Christmas letter typed, she asks me to type it. I guess turnaround is fair play. We have raised 2 children, Daryl and Ann, and we are enjoying watching our 7 grandchildren grow up. So our stories continue. We have 3 members of our congregation that have recently published stories on their own. James Baldwin has a new book coming out in April. He's not here today. He had a cold. Anyway, it's entitled I Am Legion. He has 6 books of the Archemy Online Chronicles series, and he writes the lit RPG and science fiction genre mostly. He tried to explain that to me, and he says it's usually appeals to people under 40, and I says, well, that's the problem. I could do that twice. Anyway, he's successful at it. Christine Dahl, which is right there, published her book, Chrissy Comes Home. This book. It's the adventures of a young girl's imagination inspired by an atlas that she was introduced to in the library. It introduced Christy to many lands, and she made new friends and laughed and played with their families and communities. Her heart became bigger as she welcomed new friends, along with people, plants, and people of her blue and green planet. She belonged. Chrissy had a home. If you need more information, talk to Christine at coffee. Dave Coe, right there, published this book just a week ago. In fact, I think the ink is still wet on the inside. Anyway, it's entitled The Toe of a Shoe, Secrets Revealed. I'll reveal that secret first. The toe of the shoe is his great-grandmother lived in Virginia. It's just the state of Virginia has the shape of a shoe. She lived in the toe of the shoe. All right. You know, that's not the book, though. That's just what the title is. Anyway, I had the privilege of reading excerpts of this book along the way and enjoyed the journey. Dave described his book as genealogical fiction. He's making his own genre, filling in the blanks about his great-grandmother, Melinda Jane Perry, her life through letters inspired through Dave by Melinda at his computer. So this is a collection of letters from his great-grandmother. I especially enjoyed Melinda's description of what happens to us when we die in chapter 4. She says, so there's no longer an I, just a collection of we's. In search of something to do, the multi-billions of electrons and far fewer atoms that the philosophers call soul scatter when you die and throughout the planet and the universe, so the adventure of the energy continues. Melinda's story is definitely intriguing and the secrets revealed. Again, at coffee, talk to Dave about his book. My story and yours are still being written, but we also have to know that we are being made by these stories. So let's tell a new story. We have a choice. It is a message of our faith. So whatever it is, wherever you are, don't give the storyline away. Put your own stamp on your individual stories. Have fun. Make it your own. Keep telling your stories, listening to other people's stories, make new stories, be the storyteller, and keep your life stories and other people's stories alive so that we can remember who we are, where we came from, and why we're here. Thank you. Please rise in body and our spirit for our closing song, number 318 in the gray hymnal, We Would Be One. Join in singing our hymn of love, and pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow, a nobler world that we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. We pledge ourselves to greater service and love and justice, strive to make us free. Please be seated. If you would join with me in our chalice extinguishing words, which are on the screen and in your order of service. As we extinguish our flame, may our lives be the reflection of its light, and all the beauty, peace, and joy that is possible in the world. And may the love that we find in this place sustain us as we go our separate ways and help us in our daily lives. Announcements. I'm sure you're just waiting for them, right? If you have an announcement for Sunday service, please send it to the office by 12 noon on Thursday before the service to be included. We have two announcements today. One is Discover the Heart of Unitarian Universalism. Reverend Sabrina will present Introduction to UU this Thursday, January 9th at 6:30 in the lounge. This class is open to new members, to those who might want to learn more, even for longtime members who would like to participate. Please share this information with anyone who might like to attend. If you plan to come and have not already registered, please let Kathy Soley know after the service. Kathy is right there, so talk to her at the coffee. Or you can register online to soleycathy@yahoo.com. That's in the newsletter, so you don't have to remember that part of it. If you need child care, please let Kathy know. As of this time, no one has requested child care. And the other one is really important. The Golden Gals lunch has been moved. The Golden Gals lunch for the month of January has been moved to the second Tuesday of January due to a conflict of scheduling. So if you intend to attend the Golden Girls Luncheon Brunch, it will be meeting on Tuesday, January 14th, not January 7th. That's important. You'll come here on the 7th, you'll be here for somebody else. All right. And then they said, you could hear it says, draw your attention to the other things on the back of the order of service. We don't have a normal order of service today. We have a sheet of paper. So you have to look at the website to find out what else is going on. Please join with us. Well, I got closing words someplace. Tom and I would like to thank you for being here today. We encourage you to remember those who have gone before you and those whose stories have helped create and direct your stories. Please continue to share your stories with each other today and always. As the quote at the top of the order of service by Sue Monk says, stories have to be told or they die. And when they die, we can't remember who we are or why we are here. So the Stories of Bees has something to say about it. Remember that you are the author of your own stories, that it is still being written, whatever it is, wherever you are on your journey. Don't give the storyline away. So what is your story? The journey continues. Please join us downstairs for conversation after the postlude and Josh's vocal postlude. Thank you.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Reach out, touch what was once just in your imagination. Don't be shy, it's all right if you feel a little trepidation. Sometimes these things don't need explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Somebody to hold on to it. All we really need, nothing else to it. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of our creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. You want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Hi,
I
Linda.
was going to tell you thank you for being, you're so expedient with your thank you note.
With what?
Your thank you note
Oh,
for the money.
Oh,
yeah.
the acknowledgement.
Yeah, you're so good. I mean, because there's people I have to call in March going, where's the acknowledgement letter? So you're good. Hey, I should have known.
Gates, do you have a key?